creative minds, welcome back again to my channel. If you are new here, you are welcome. And on this channel I share pattern drafting tutorials, sewing tutorials, and everything fashion related. If this sounds like what you like to learn, then you like to hit the subscription button so you'll be notified whenever I post new tutorial. And on today's project, we are going to be learning how to draft this beautiful corporate top that you see here. If this is sound like what you like to learn, let's get right into the video. So my pattern here is unfold, that is unfold of 2. I folded it into 2. Then I'm going to be drafting from my starting line as usual, from my shoulder to my bust point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waistline. Then for the top length, I'm going to be adding 6.5 inches. Depends on how long you want it to be, approximately at least to your hip point. So I'm going to be highlighting all these lines with a straight line like I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and label as usual so you can see every point clearly. So next I'm going to impute my shoulder line, which is 7.5 inches. Then from there I will go down for my slope by 1 inches, and I'm going to connect to my armhole by 8 inches. Impute your armhole. Now I'm going to be drawing a new line which is going to be serving as my chest line. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just mark my shoulder line at my chest line so as to enable me get an accurate straight line to the top. Then I'm going for a neck depth of 3 by 2 inches, and I'm going to be connecting it with a curve like so. Next I'm going to go ahead and connect my shoulder slope like I did here. So next we're going to go ahead and impute our nipple to nipple measurements. So my nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2 is 4, and I'm imputing this all the way around to my top length, and I'll connect with a straight line like I'm doing here. So now I'm going to be going with a dart of 1 inches at my center front and 1.5 inches at my side front, just like I did. You can go 2 inches darts if you are on a busty side, and if you are not so busty, you can do 1 inch on both sides. So I'm going to be connecting a curve at that from my under bust to my bust point, just like I'm doing here. This is going to give this bustier top a very beautiful outcome. So next, now I'm going to go ahead and divide what I have there by 2 and take the midpoint. Then I'll come out by 1/4 of an inch. Then I'll go ahead and measure my round bust measurement at my chest line, then connect the 3 lines like I'm doing here to enable us get our armhole curve. So next, at that midpoint, I'm going to be connecting it to my chest line like I did, because this is a bustier dress. So I'm going to be connecting it like so. Then I'm going to be going out by 1/2 an inch. Then I'll connect it to my chest line again on both sides. So 1/2 an inch on both sides will give us a total of 1 inch. So that 1 inch, I'm going to be replacing it here. Then I will connect with a curve. So this is going to be our new armhole curve. I'll connect it like so. So the next step now is for us to impute all our round measurements, all our circumference measurements. I'm going to be imputing it, and I'm going to be replacing the 2.5 inches that I took. Then I'm also going to be imputing my sewing allowance on this pattern, sewing allowance of 1.5 inches. So I'm also going to be imputing that later. So at my top length, if you observe the top, it's a little bit curvy, so I'm also going to be adding 1 inches to get that beautiful shape at the down part of the top. This depends on you. You can do 1.5 or 1 inches. I'm going to be just doing 1 inches, okay, just to have that exaggeration at the top length. That is the length of the top. So I'm going to be connecting all my lines, and I'm going to be highlighting it with my marker so you can see them clearly. I'm going to be highlighting all the important lines as well. So at this point, if you have a tracer, it's going to go a long way, because I'm going to be tracing what I have drafted at the other side of this pattern. You remember I told you that this my pattern is on fold, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut out, so that by the time I spread it open, it will be able to contain the table properly for you to see. So I'm just going to cut out roughly, then I'm going to go ahead and trace on the other side of the pattern. So what I have on this side, I'll trace it on the other side. By the time I trace it and I open it, you understand what I mean. So just go ahead and cut out roughly like I'm doing. I included 1/2 inch to my shoulder for joining. So this is what it looks like by the time I've opened it up. So I've traced it on the other side just like I did. So at my neck depth, I'll come down by 2 inches. Please pay attention to this point. So I'm going to be connecting it with a curve to the center of my pattern around my chest line. Then I'm going to also draw a straight line like I did, not so straight line. Then I'm going to curve it down to my top length. A little bit of 1/2 inch should be down there. So I'm going to highlight this with a marker so you can see it clearly. So this is us trying to get the design of the top. If you look at the top, you understand how this is coming about. So the next step now, I've also gone to here to highlight like I did. Next step now, I'll go out at the other side of my shoulder by 1 inch. If you observe, it's a wide shoulder, then I'll just connect it with a curve to my neck depth. Then after my neck depth, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch, okay. Then I'll go out by approximately 4 inches. You can do 5 inches if you want, and I'll connect with a straight line like I'm doing here. Then I'm going to go down from my shoulder line like so by 6 inches. You can do 7 inches, depending on how exposed you want that opening to be. So I'm going to connect with a line from the 4 inches that I drew, just like I'm doing here. The line should not be too straight, it should be curvy. So I'm going to curve it like so to meet the other points like I'm doing. Just watch what I'm doing, you will understand. Then from my chest line, I'll come down by 1/2 inch and I'll mark it. Then I'm going to be curving that point that I drew, and I'll join them together. So I'm just going to curve it out so you can see it clearly. So you can see that our top is coming out perfectly well. So next we are going to work on our curve down. So I'm going to go up at this point by 1 inch. Then at the side, I'll go up by 2 inch. Then for me to be able to draw my style line, I'm just going to try to close my dart legs. I'm just trying to get a perfect curve. So I'll try to close all my darts like I'm doing. Then I'll just curve it like so. This is optional, you can decide to do without it, but you should, so as to get that beautiful curve at the down part. I'll do same for the other side. I'll go up by 2 inches, I'll close my darts, then I'll curve my design just like so. So that's basically it. So for my neck, I'm going to also expand it again by 1/2 inch. If you observe the top, the neck is a bit wide, so I'm just going to just curve it a bit so as to get a perfect curve like so. So next now is for me to go ahead and label all my patterns appropriately so that when I'm cutting on my fabric, you would know which is which. So just go ahead and label it in a way that you can understand. So after labeling it, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out. Please pay attention to how I'm going to be cutting out so that you don't end up cutting the part that is important. So this is how it should look like by the time you are done drafting. I just wanted you to see it clearly. So next now we're going to go ahead and cut out. So this is what it looks like. This is what yours should look like by the time you're done. So next we're going to go ahead and draft our back. So for the back pattern, I've gone ahead to take out 1 inches for my zipper allowance. I've marked my chest line, bust points, waistline, top length, and my shoulder slope. Basically everything we did for the front pattern. So now I'm just going to go out here by half an inch, come down by 0.2 inches, mark my round bust measurements, and connect 3 lines to get my armhole curve. So next I'll be going out by my nipple to nipple measurements all the way down to my top length. Okay, the back pattern is not so difficult. It's basic, but this back pattern I'm just going to go ahead and connect with a straight line like I'm doing. Then I'm going to be going out for my darts by 1 inches on both sides. Okay, then I'm going to be connecting it with a straight line a little bit below my chest, my bust points, just like I did here. So next I'm going to be working on my neck depth of 3 by 2 inches, just the same way I did for the front. I'm also going to work on it later on. So for my shoulder, I'll go up by half an inch and I'll just connect it. Then I'm going to go ahead and work on our zip part. I'm going to be, before I work on our zip part, I'll go ahead and impute all my circumference measurements just like I'm doing here. I'll go ahead and mark all my round circumference measurements. That's my round bust, my round waist, my round hip, and I'll also be imputing 1.5 inches allowance just like I did for the back. So for the top length, I'm going to be replacing the 2 inches that I took out. Then I'll mark my 1.5 inches allowance, and I also go out by 1 inches for a curvy shape at the down part, just like we did for the front. So I'll go ahead and connect all my lines like so. So next we're going to work on our zipper part to reduce big gaping. I'm going to go out on my waistline by half an inch and I'll connect it to the top like so with a slanted line. So for my neck, I'll go out by 1 inches just like the way we did for the front, and I'll connect it like so, and this will be my new neckline. So next I'll go up by 2 inches just like I did for the front part, and I'll just connect it with a curve like so. So for my darts, I'm going to be taking out this dart and I'm going to be showing you how I'll go about that. I'll just highlight all the lines that I'll be cutting out so you will understand, and I'll label this my back pattern. So first off, I'll go ahead and open up my dart so that I'll close it up before cutting the pattern out. So just watch how I'm going to be doing that. By the time I fold it, I'm going to be taping it down. You can go ahead and pin it down if you want, but for me, I'll just tape it down like I'm doing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace out properly like I did here to cover up. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut out. And that will be basically all for this tutorial. I hope you learned something from this. Don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to do so for more of this kind of tutorial. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I really appreciate this. What yours should look like. See you in my next video. Bye.